Microphone. Okay. There we go. Sorry about that. Updated OBS and it deselected the microphone again. What's up, Greg? When I think of you and the world's alright with me. God, that was a tight package. Damn right it was. Your mama's tight package. My name's Micah. Me. My name's Micah and I like tight packages. All in my face. Alrighty then.
Alright.
Deactivate. Activate. Okay. Snurf, snurf. Death by snurf, snurf. That's not what we wanted. That is what we wanted. Boop, 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 boop. Deactivate and activate. Alright, we'll wait for the main camera to fucking pick back up. What size vacuum bags do you use for iPad 2? We use 1 gallon. 1 gallon bags. Come on, camera. Do your magic. Start working. Come on. I recommend if you're going to do this, don't use 2 of the same camera because it doesn't like it at all. Honestly, I don't know if I'll keep this one down here or not. I don't know if this really does anything. Oh, there it goes. Shit. Alright, so let's put this charge port on here real quick for this iPad mini. And then I've got an iPhone 6S for data recovery. I also have an iPhone 5C for data recovery, but it came in and it actually turns on, but it didn't have any backlight, it didn't have any image, and it didn't have touch. I've got backlight and image back, but I still don't have touch. And the way it's acting, I still think that it's not necessarily related to the touch ICs themselves. I think it may be something to do with chestnut, possibly. But we'll take a look at it here in a second. After we do the iPhone 6S. It's really annoying because I'm like, I don't have very good luck with 5 series for some reason. Like, touch problems on 5Cs seem to always give me issues. Like, even if I can get everything else working, I just can't ever seem to get touch working. Even if I replace both the ICs, it still won't work. I had a 5S that was here one time. I replaced both ICs, multiple controller ICs, like the one that makes the B-Sync signal or whatever. Replaced like everything I could think of on it, still couldn't get touch. And I'm not sure why. I ended up getting frustrated with it and just gave up on it. Doot doot doot. Doot doot doot. Doot doot doot. So that looks like everybody on there. Last pass. Okay, so let's clean up the flux here. It's nice and level. Let's grab our sticker over here. Now let's test it real quick and see if it attempts to charge, because before it was pulling 0 amps and the charging port was pretty nasty inside. Now we'll see if it pulls anything other than 0 amps. It does indeed. TriStar is working. Yep, looks normal, so it should be charging now. The voltage draw that I'm getting looks like it should. We'll give that back to Micah because he loves assembling and disassembling iPads. You can hear him in the background just jumping for joy.
Fuck your mom.
Hope your whole family dies of dysentery. Alright, so I'm going to finish taking the 6S apart. This one supposedly has a VCC main short. So we're going to find out where that short is. I've also got some other lovely mail-in phones that are driving me nuts. One's from Lauren. He sent it in. It had a high amp draw that was draining the battery. It was causing a VCC main short. It was a... I don't know if it was... I think it was a water damage phone. I can't remember per se. I think it was. Yeah, it was a water damage phone. So I pulled everything that I could think that was on the VCC main line that would cause a partial short. Usually partial shorts are ICs, and I pulled several. Like I pulled PMIC and it had corrosion under it, and I was like, oh, that's got to be it. I found it, and it wasn't. How you going? What can I do for you?
Just living the dream.
Living the dream.
You said you had some stuff ready for
We got some stuffs and some things. Micah, want to grab those? I think we fixed everything.
Wow. The wet one too?
I think all of them. We'll check and see. I can't remember. It's been a while.
I know.
It's been
kind of
more.
runs together,
It's
too.
been more than 20 minutes. I don't remember.
I have that problem. Think too much about the hereafter.
I see so many phones a day. I can't remember which ones.
They just all
What I
look
did,
alike
what?
and run together.
Yeah.
Go back through them all.
All right. Let's go down the list. You can tell me what was wrong with it, and I'll tell you what it did to it. 6S Plus.
Well, I've slept since then without my nose.
6S Plus. Crack on board power chip.
And you called and asked Brian about that one, and I don't remember exactly what he told you, except
He
I
said whenever a SIM was in the phone that it would
get signal for a little while, and then
He said it
you
would
left
shut
it on
off.
for a while, it would just disappear, and for a while it might show back up again, but it was very intermittent.
Well, this one I think he said it would shut off, didn't he?
yeah.
It didn't shut off on us, so we didn't do anything on that one.
And that's the one that we said was intermittent or didn't come on.
No, that one says crack on board power chip.
This one does?
That's what it said on the
Okay.
description.
And this is one that it's going to show signal for a while and then it's not.
That one?
Yeah.
Are you sure that wasn't the other one that had
I'm
no
not
signal most
positive.
of the time?
Uh,
So this one right here. This one says no signal some of the time.
okay. And we did have a lot of those. And that was one I think we had even replaced antennas. In fact, we replaced the whole housing. We just put the board in another housing.
Okay. I fixed that one.
Okay.
That was a chip problem with the board.
Okay.
Because I couldn't get signal on it at all.
All right.
Let's see. 6S water damage.
Yeah. That one it was a total potato when we handed it to you, I think. It didn't come on, it didn't wink, it didn't blink, it didn't do nothing.
I'm pretty sure it turns on. I think the screen's bad on it though. Let me check. One of these had a bad screen but turned on now. I think so.
This one, as I recall, I think Brian said if it's on about 20 minutes is when...
I left it on for a while and it didn't do nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, this one needs a new screen. It's charging
Okay.
right now. It's just dead.
Okay.
But it turns on. I put a new screen on it. It has touch. Everything works
Okay.
on.
All right.
The last one, no Wi-Fi, will not charge from dead.
Yeah, if you put a battery that has some charge on it, it'll charge up. But if it was completely dead, it would just sit there and never, ever do anything.
There's no battery in it.
There's no battery in it.
I don't think so. Or this was the one that didn't feel like it had no battery in it. I don't know. One of these, I don't think it had a battery or something. But
That would be weird.
yeah, this one doesn't have a battery in it, I don't think. Yeah.
I'm going to stop bringing him over here. I'm going to have Brian bring him over here.
We'll open it up. I'm pretty sure this one didn't have a battery in it at all. Yeah, no battery in it. So it charges now,
Okay.
and it has Wi-Fi now.
Okay. Wow, signal in here's terrible.
It is, yeah. There's that one.
So, can't remember if we wrote it down or not. No, didn't write it
See
down.
if I can call it on this broken board chip thing.
Okay.
Just
This one doesn't have a sim in it right now. We can test this one, make sure it should still be working. Do. Ba-da-da-da-da. Alright. Grab my personal phone.
the iPhone you sent over here, the broken chip on board, nobody really understands, and they can't find anything that it relates to. Okay, what happens because of that?
Lovely, lovely day.
Hang on a second. Which one of you guys worked on this one? This one, you?
We both looked
That was the
kinda
cracked
like that.
board on chip or whatever. He says you can actually see the crack through the chip. And if you turn it on, after a period of time, it will show no signal. You can turn it off, leave it off overnight, and it will come back on again. But he says that the crack through the chip is visible with your eye.
Okay. Well, we didn't take it all the way out. We turned it on. Usually when it says crack in power chip, that usually means it's not going to turn on. That's why we didn't
Okay,
bother.
say that again, Brian.
Once you take it out, the chip on it, there was no line, and that was one big power chip. And the best chip that I have is that it's either getting warm or something, and it loses power to the transmitter, because it just stops having signal after about 2 to 5 minutes of blanking.
So it's something to do with the cellular, not power.
Yeah, I mean, it will completely lose signal.
I mean, it completely loses signal, and the only visible damage
Okay.
there was a crack across that chip.
Okay. We'll take a look at it.
Okay.
I didn't want
Thank
to take
you.
it apart if I didn't understand what he was talking about.
Alright.
We'll leave that one.
Alright.
This one gets signal still as soon as you pop the sim in.
Okay.
So, let's see.
We got the white one that was wet that needs that. The no Wi-Fi one and not charging you fixed. And this one you
Put it
fixed,
down
and
there
the
for me.
other
No,
cracked
it's fine.
across the
What do
board
you do
one,
first?
we're going to leave with you, and maybe you can figure that one out.
Yep.
But oh yeah.
Total and everything is going to be $225.
Okay.
baseband for 100. The Wi-Fi and the no charge is 80.
What's the next one?
80.
What's that one?
It's Wi-Fi and no charging. And the last one was backlight filter replacement for iPhone 6S.
And how much was
45. Alright. Let's see here.
it? Alright, so it's going to be $225.
I love coming in here. Your overall organization and ambiance makes me feel so much at home. It's just like going in the back door of my shop. With a lot bigger microscopes.
We like big microscopes.
We do.
Yeah, I totally understand that.
We're out to get you. It's gonna be
Try back.
And the other part is, you all seem like you're having a good time.
always.
Man, it just doesn't, if you're not, it will not pay enough. I
Nope.
don't care what the job is. If
You gotta-
ain't
you
having
gotta
a good
enjoy
time,
what you're
if
doing.
You can't look forward to coming in.
Yep.
It will not pay enough. Just flat won't.
There you
Takes
are,
some
sir.
folks a while to learn that,
We'll pull that 6S apart here in a little bit.
but okay, that's cool. If you don't happen to get it tomorrow, Brian and I are going to be out of town until at least Monday. Okay. And our substitute won't be too busy to see you, even though she is a lot better looking. All right, see y'all later, man.
Have a good one.
You too.
Alright, Mr. Little Components. Alright, so we're going to find the short on VCC main on this phone. It does have a VCC main short. Don't blow away, Mr. Capacitor. We need you. So let's get this little guy back in place if it doesn't fucking end up on the floor somewhere. Okay. Now let's put our cap back on. You don't look like our cap. You do though. You look like our cap. And you blew away again. What's going on, everybody? Sorry about the delay there. It's been a while since I've streamed. Last few days have been pretty busy. We're almost caught up here, and it seems like a never-ending attempt to catch up. One day when I catch up, I'll feel good, but then I know the very next day I'll be so far behind. Alright, so we need to make a jumper to jump VCC main together to bat VCC. A lot of the times you'll see people will just connect this straight to VCC main, but I find it easier for myself at least to just make a little bridge by removing the battery gate MOSFET and just doing that, like a little blob. You want to make sure you leave the gate pin, which is this one here, separate from the other ones. That way you don't screw anything up. Alright, so let's get our freeze spray ready, and we will inject some voltage. Looks like we got somebody's been messing around with stuff up here too. Oh, looks like this shield's been taken off too. It's just sitting on here. Well, that's good. No, all the shields have been messed with. Alright, cool. Easy to access everything here. So, let's go ahead and turn off our power, hook up our connector, and we want to see what's going to get hot here. So I'm not going to freeze it right away. I just want to cool the board off first. That way when it does get warm, I can feel it, because the board was already pretty hot. So let's go ahead and kick the power on and see what we can find. So far, no recognizable heat. Okay, I'm going to increase the current a little bit, since that is it's about a 2-watt draw right now, which isn't insignificant, but okay, so still no noticeably hot areas. I'm going to increase the current just a little more, up to 3 amps, which brings us up to about 3 watts of power going into this board. Okay, I'm trying to pinpoint where this heat's coming from. So the top of the board's cold. Now down towards the bottom where the connector is plugged in, it is warm, but that could just be where the connector itself is getting warm from the amp draw. But there could also be something down here that's getting hot. So let's go ahead and cut that. Now let's freeze spray the bottom here and see what we can find. Okay, so let's let that freeze up. Okay, and let's inject some power. Hold on here. We had a component in there that was not frozen. I wonder if that was just because it didn't get hit or what. So let's watch that component down in there. Okay, we're just getting a general melt right now. Let's try that again. You got all the parts there. He wants to put it all the way back together.
He wants me to put it all the way back
Yeah, he's gonna pay us for it.
He's gonna pay you for it? How much is he gonna pay?
There's the board right there
Where?
on my station. Okay, looking for any signs of heat. I'm doing well, Richard. How are you doing? So I still don't see any signs of like focalized heat. We're still just kind of getting a general warm up of the board. So, how much amp draw are we getting right now? We're getting quite a bit of amp draw. It's 3 watts. Let's go ahead and turn the current up a little more. We'll turn it up to 3.5 amps, which gives us 3.5 watts because we're pulling about 1 volt right now. Let's go ahead and inject that and see what happens. And the connector's getting warm, but nothing is getting like overly hot. I'm gonna let that heat soak for a second, just to see if something gets warmer than everything else. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the schematic for it. I want to see where a VCC main goes on this board. And see what might be getting hot. In this area. So VCC main. Okay, let's see. Okay, so it does go to these coils down here too. Okay, so whatever it is definitely in the bottom of the board here. So let's do some investigating. Let's see if we see anything that sticks out at us. And then we can compare that to what we see on the schematic. Let's check the capacitors around the chestnut I see here. Or not chestnut, fucking tigress, excuse me. What the fuck I'm talking about. Alright, so let's see. It's dim coils. There are some coils I'm gonna look at, but I don't think it's the coils. That's all VCC main, so of course that's going to be shorted. Let's take the solder bob out real quick. I want to make sure that this is indeed a VCC main and not a bat VCC short. There's a chance that it could be bat VCC, but I doubt it. But we'll go ahead and we'll separate these lines here. A little flux should help do that. Okay, there we go. So let's check this. No, it's definitely VCC main. Alright, so that's okay. We can put that solder bulb back. We know that it is indeed a VCC main problem. Is it water damage? No. Which false software update was released this time promising waterproofing? Greg, that's what I'm thinking. So on the front side here, this cover, there's 2 coils and some capacitors. The heat that I'm getting is focalized around here. These coils, or the caps under here, or the coils themselves can actually, I've seen some that have failed. The cap has failed and caused the coil itself to kind of lift off the board and cause a no charging situation. So I kind of want to see under here. What? No, no, that's the parts one.
Oh.
There should have been a white digitizer and LCD separate. Okay, so let's get this off. Alright, that looks fine. Let's check the coils to see if they're lifted at all. They look okay. We'll leave that shield out though. What down here? So since we're focalized heat around Tigris, let me check and make sure none of these have been bumped. Some of these antenna ICs have Tigris on them. I don't see anything there. How's gas gauge on? Well, gas gauge on wouldn't really matter on this one. We're looking for a VCC main short, so I'm going to start by going ahead and pulling the Tigris IC and see if the short remains. And sometimes pulling components off of a line that's shorted can cause the other component that actually is bad to start fucking up, because you're reducing the dissipation of the voltage draw across all those chips, kind of focalizing what the issue can be. I've seen some where I'll take a chip off and the short will go from like a partial short, and then I'll hit it with voltage and it'll go full short and it'll get hot quick. Yeah, that, Greg, it's pretty crazy. Sometimes these will get really high amp draws and not get warm. And it takes a lot of heat and a lot of amperage sometimes to get them to show anything. Alright, so I'm going to turn my current draw back down a little bit just to make sure. And we'll see if anything gets warm down. Okay, so Tigris may have been the problem. So it looks like the amp draw is gone. Oh no, the short's still there though. So even though Tigris is off, we should still have an amp draw, because the two lines are still tied directly together. Let me make sure I didn't just have it not a tight connection there. Huh. That's really weird. I'm fairly confident that even with Tigris not there, we should have a connection between VCC main and BAT VCC. Actually, we don't. I don't have the two lines tied together. Duh. It's the mating call of Micah's mother.
They call Chris.
Alright, now we should have the two lines tied together. Okay, now let's inject some voltage and see what happens. Yep, there's our short. Alright, so let's see what gets hot. Nate, what kind of lines? Vertical lines? If so, then you need to lift Mason up and reball it. Okay, so I still don't feel it. I mean, it's warm, but there's nothing that's like blazing hot. Let's just increase current until we get something respectable out of this thing.
I'll do what you want. It's good, hot, look good.
The top of the board is cold. Whatever it is definitely at the bottom. And it's still just getting like a general heat pattern. Nothing overly hot. I've already sprayed free spray on it. Very faint lines, yeah, it's Mason. Pull Mason back off and then redo it. Also check your screen. Your screen can also cause faint lines at times. If it's not connected properly. Alright, so let's see if anything down here gets hot. Alright, so did that big cap melt on us or no? Let's see here. Okay, that cap is melting. I'm going to take that cap off. So that cap is melting. It's melting very, very slowly, but it is. Let me see what the easiest way is going to be to get this out. Probably with the hot tweezers. Okay. Get that cap out. Short's gone. So that's what it was. It was that cap was the problem. So if I turn it back on now, I have 0 amp draw and it sits at 4.2 volts waiting to be prompted to boot. Alright, cool. So let's clean that up and we'll put a cap back in that place. I don't think I've ever seen that cap fail. I've seen... Well, I'll take that back. I have seen that cap fail, but it's usually due to water damage. The only time I've seen it fail, when it did fail, one of these coils went with it. Let's clean out and tin those pads. That way when we come back in, we'll have a nice clean surface to add our new cap to. We'll also test and show that this cap was the fault. So this cap is the one we took off. There you go. So that cap has a 0 ohm short across it. So get the fuck out of here, cap. You cause us problems. Let's see what capacitance that is. I should be able to just pull any cap the same size off of one of the yeah, 6.3 10 UF. So I'm going to find one on an iPhone 6 board since I have one sitting here and just swap that out. So we're looking for a 10 UF 6.3 cap. Oh, look at that. So the caps up here next to the backlight are the same size. So we're going to snag one of these off this board. Yes, Nate, it can cause that. If the connection's not good on the touch flex, it can cause faint gray lines and no touch. Alrighty. We've got our capacitor. And we'll drop it down here.
Hey, Micah.
Hey,
Just iPad mini.
I'm putting it together.
You didn't put them together yet?
Nope.
Putting it together.
Huh?
Nope. We're putting it together now. That's what we do. Put things together. Wake up
How
in the
long,
morning.
Micah?
6 years.
No, seriously.
Seriously, 6 years. Dude, like an hour.
5.
An hour?
Yep.
2:59. Dang, like 6:30?
Dang, probably.
You must sit in the rest. You got, yeah. You got change?
What you got? Change for what? We're putting it back together for free? Dang. It's hard life out here.
What? I put this back to this free.
Evidently we are, because he needs change. How much change you want?
10,
Seriously?
15.
Dang.
5.
Give me 5. I gotta take Micah's label.
Micah's labor, look at this guy, man.
We could just give it back to you in parts.
Okay, I'll be back in like 1 hour.
Yeah, he'll be done. Hard out here for a pimp. We might as well just tell Sasha to give us his business and then he doesn't have to work it all.
Yeah.
Alright, so we got our cap on. There's no short. Woohoo. No problem, Nate. Nate. Nate, actually I have a question for you, sir. You sent us a iPhone 6S with NAND problems, I think. Was it Nate that sent us the iPhone 6S? Do you want me to send this to one of the guys I know that can do these? Because I don't have the reader yet. I don't have the reader for the 6S yet. I am going to order it if you want to wait. It's up to you. It could be next week, though, before I get it. Or I can send it out today or tomorrow and hopefully get it back by the end of the week for you. Up to you, sir.
This is
Up to you.
crap quality. Everything 2 weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. I'm cleaning my eyepiece. They're all dirty. My eyepieces
I
are
get it
dirty.
for you. It'd be 2 weeks.
2 weeks. The reader on Friday? No. Not for the 6S. It probably won't be here till next week. China is very slow. I can probably talk to my buddy tonight and see. Actually, he's on here, Freddie. I'll talk to him and see if he can get it here sooner. Because I needs it. You hate Mondays, Alex. Well, Alex, we have a data recovery job that is done for you, and we're going to send it back to you. Because we're nice people. Okay, I'll get it taken care of, Nate. I'll check with him tonight if he can get it like before the end of this week. I'll just wait. If not, I'll ship it to Lauren and get it taken off. Lauren's a good guy. He knows what he's doing. Lauren knows what he's doing. Alright, let's put tigers back on this motherfucker and see if it boots up. Dude, Alex, I know, man. I'm telling you. I feel you, bro. Trust me, I've got a whole plate of failure right now. I've got a 5C that Nate sent me that I got to turn on, and it's got backlight now, and it's got image, and it boots up all the way to the operating system, and it's got passcode, and touch doesn't work. And I've replaced both touch ICs, and I've checked all the voltage lines, and they're there. So, I feel you. I've also got one from Lauren that had an amp draw. I figured out what the amp draw was after I took every fucking chip off the board. And now putting all the chips back on, it's like fighting. Like I got image back, but no touch. And then I got image with touch, but half backlight. And then I got full backlight, no touch with image. So, it's been all over the place. Those are the most frustrating ones. Just make you want to just bang your head on the wall. Along with the other data recoveries that I have that it doesn't make any sense. Like I get rid of the shorts on the board and they still won't boot up. Passcode for the 5C. Yes, I do, Nate. Yes, I do. If I can get touch working, I will need that passcode. Right now, the board has a... It's supposed to be like 3.3 voltage drop to ground. Right now it has a 0.12, which means it has a partial short on VCC main. But the phone does boot, but I think the reason that it doesn't have touch still is because something to do with that VCC main short. So I'm trying to figure that out now. I really don't want to do PMIC if it's PMIC. PMIC on these is a nightmare. Underfilled piece of shit.
You eat piece of shit for breakfast?
You eat piece of shit for breakfast? No, it's not what I said.
I do believe that's what you said.
Lexi Homo's naked? That's cool, man.
That's cool, man. Whatever you like.
Backing up a device earlier after getting it up, and Caitlin asked me to do something and went to stand up and it slammed to the floor off the desk because of DC. Oh, dude, all the time. I've had so many boards come flying off the table because it gets tied up in my arm of my chair.
I tried 3-1.
Punched a hole in something, got back up, got dead eventually, but Lord, have mercy, it's been a day. Kind of getting sick of people asking me shit and wanting answers spoon-fed to them today. Alex, it sounds like you need to charge more to make it worth your while. Tell you, man, it ain't worth charging little money and dealing with that bullshit. I don't charge enough, and I'm starting to get tired of it. I was thinking the other night, I'm gonna just raise my prices if walk-in customers keep being d-bags.
I got so many iPads that are charging.
Mail-in customers don't normally bother me.
I think we need to start doing mandatory $45 to open one.
$45 to open iPads? Alright.
Just on the no charge. I mean, if it's a charge, that's fine. That's something we know we can fix. But if it's no charging, then then I gotta get something out because I've taken it all the way out. I pull the board, and then it's just like a draw. It's just a charging port.
You get pooped on.
I get pooped on, Chris.
You get pooped on,
I
Micah.
get pooped on. Then I gotta put it all back together.
All right. Stencil's ready to go. Did I lose my... No, I didn't lose my chip. I was like, did I lose my chip? No, still there. And if you haven't been here when I've said this, the 3D stencils are pretty fucking awesome. See if I can clean out my one clogged hole. Wholesale? Yeah. It definitely gets rough at times when you have to deal with people that are a little unreasonable. So far, I don't think I've really had anybody that's been unreasonable. Most of the guys that I deal with, Nate being one of them, tend to have a pretty good understanding of what's going on. So I try to get stuff in as literally as fast as I can get it in. I try to get it out, but there's just sometimes, man, like there's phones that take up a lot of your time. The 5C's taken up probably 2 hours of my day so far. I really want to get the data off of it, especially since it's booting up. Like, I can see their background photo and everything. I can't fucking punch in the code, though. No touch. No touchy. No touchy touchy. Bit a bit of bit. Bit a bit of bit. Bit a bit of bit a bit of bit. Bit a bit of bit a bit of bit bit. Alrighty. It looks like a tigress that's ready to go back to his home. We're gonna figure out his orientation. I believe its writing is up. Like show. Let's put a little splooge down. Get our splooge in there. Put some splooge on the board here. Alright. Alright, that's melted. Alright, that's schmelted. Schmelty. Schmelty. What's up, Nate? Nate, you did not send me the pin code. I do need it. If you want, you can text it to me or however you want to do it. Alex, my problem is that I like to figure out every board. And that eats up a lot of my time because I spend time on boards that I should just say, fuck it. But I really want to know why they don't work. Like, personally, it bothers me when I can't figure out what it is. And it makes me want to know. So I keep fucking, like, pushing myself to try to get it. And sometimes you just, like, there's been a few boards I get to a point where I, like, give up. I can't keep putting time into them. I just have to pass on them. Maybe somebody else out there can figure them out and knows more than I do, and I hope they do. And I hope they get that board and they're like, hey, I figured out what it is, and I can watch them figure it out and be like, fuck yeah. And that way I know for the future. Alrighty. So if I can hook up my cable here, we'll be in business. Okay, cable's hooked up. Turn on our power. Hit the power button. And there we go. Beautiful Apple logo. Yay. Nate, we fixed your iPhone 6S. Yay. A go. Cholo. What's up, man? Yeah. Working. Yeah. We got two options. We got a aftermarket screen, it's 140, and we got a OEM screen, 170. Dang, boy. Well, we can fix kind of bad. Oh, that could be bad. Do you have insurance on it? Do you have insurance on that phone? Check with that first, because if you do, I would do that. I normally like 150, but if it cracked the frame, it probably did some other damage. Yeah. I would definitely check insurance first, and if not, bring it to me. I'll see what I can do. Alright, man. See ya. Cracked his iPhone 7 Plus frame. Dropped a heavy weight on it.
Who did that?
I'll go. Alright. I'll go. Alright, so this one's fixed. What one was that? That's the 6S that had a BCC main short on it. That you sent us. Pink 6S. Rose gold. Rose pink. Pretty sure it's from you. Let's see. Yep, Nate Parker. Mr. Nate Parker. You left the shields loose for me. We appreciate that. Muchas gracias. The 5C did have a NAND short. It also had a VCC main dead short, I think, or close to dead short. It was like 100 ohms or something like that. This one, the short was down right here. This capacitor was bad on the 6S. Alright, so let's put all our shields back on and reassemble this, and we'll move on to the 5C of Doom. That makes me want to kill myself. We'll have to find the VCC main short on it. I'm hoping to pull Wi-Fi and Wi-Fi be the issue, because I've noticed a couple iPhone 6s now that we've had come in that had partial VCC main shorts that turned out to be actually the Wi-Fi module. So I'm hoping for some reason we get dumb luck and that's what it is, but based on how the board looks, I suspect it's going to be something around PMIC. I did run it through the ultrasonic, so maybe we'll come to it and it'll be fine. Nate, I looked for it for a little bit. It took, how long did it take? How long have we been streaming? An hour, so it probably took me 30-40 minutes to find. Alright, so let's solder this back on. The testicles.
I want to test the testicles.
Test the testicles,
I want to
Micah.
test them.
Testicles. Alright, let's put all our shields back on here. Solder on our shields. Like a hood. Okay, Al or Nate, that's fine. If you just want to, which ways do you have of contacting me, Nate? Do you have anything outside of YouTube? If not, you can email or whatever. What's up, Timmy? Timothy? Timmery Tim? Tim actually had a, there's a local guy that has a 15-inch 2011 that has GPU problems. And I was thinking about trying to snag it up and see if we can convert it into a Intel integrated graphics only model. Do that shit on it. Okay, Nate, that's fine. Just text me on there if you want. That'll work. Very hot on the fingers. Hot on the fingers. Very hot. Very, very hot. Tim, the only thing I wish there was a way like to permanently disable it. I wish there was a way to combine, like Lewis and I talked about it on one of his streams one time. He had one that came in for water damage that was running off the integrated graphics only because there was a hardware fault on the board. But it also made it run slow because the SMC I think was freaking out because of the hardware failure. But if we could just figure out how to let the hardware be okay with hardware disabling, that'd be the way to go. Or the software being okay with the hardware being fucked with. But I'd say the promise that we've seen from that little software workaround is pretty cool. It just sucks though, you can't really update it. Does it reset, I guess, as soon as you reset PRAM? It's modifying something in PRAM, is not. I don't think it's slow. I'm just saying the one Lewis had was. It obviously isn't slow. You streamed on it the other day. If it was slow, it wouldn't have streamed. Let's add some flukes and beep, 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 beep. So resetting PRAM will reset EFI but will not turn on the GPU. Instead it disables GPU acceleration, making it slow. So if you do a PRAM reset, it comes back on but runs slow. Oh, okay. So you can't do any software updates pretty much. How new of an OS can you do it? Like Sierra works, I guess? Alright, so this board's ready to go back in the old frame. We'll reassemble that. Michael, what you got to work on? You done all them desktops?
Let's do good. Finish it. I got a call for a
How's Snasage's iPad Mooney doing?
Huh?
How's the iPad Mooney doing?
Charge it. Like I already said, I'm not putting digitized, moving it down until I know for sure it's the digitizer is going to work.
Oh, okay. Cuckoo.
It's got to charge up for that. It's deader than shit, Chris.
Deader than a brick something or
Better
other.
than your mom in bed.
Latest versions here. Cool. I wish there was like a one-click thing you could do. Like somebody would just make a one-click patch that you could run after like a update or something that would automatically repatch it. That way you don't have to sit there and fucking worry about it, and it's something you could offer for customers. Because I think most people would be plenty happy with that, unless they're like graphic designers or something. But in that case, I'd be like, I wouldn't use this.
Hey, this is Mike at BNC. I was trying to get hold of Amy. What was that again? Hello? This is Mike at BNC. I was calling to talk to Amy. Okay, I just got to work on your son's PC. The OS is corrupt. I already got
Alex, I bought them directly from
you would need to
China
reformat
through
the hard drive and reinstall Windows.
through Mandy, Xiao Mandy or whatever it is.
Hey Chris, doing a backup and resource 55, right?
Yes.
It's $55. 55. Yes, ma'am. No, you can do that tomorrow whenever you pick it up or I take it out to you.
What kind of shirts you making, Tim?
Okay. 3:30 would work fine. Just all you have to do is just give us a call and I'll walk it out there to you.
I was dicking with my laptop last night that I've got the external GTX 1060 on, and I really want to figure out how to keep it from doing what it does. So it's on a Thunderbolt 2 cable. So whenever I plug it in, sometimes the fan on it, like it'll recognize it in Windows every time, but sometimes, well, majority of the time, the GPU fans will run on absolute maximum as soon as you plug it in. And it's got to be a glitch with like the fact that you're pretty much hot swapping it. But for some reason you can unplug and plug the Thunderbolt cable. It really varies, sometimes a couple times, sometimes quite a few times. Dang, Paul, thank you, sir. I got it muted, actually.
What'd you do?
Threw my keyboard on the ground.
Hey,
I do what I
come
want.
test Chris.
I do what I want, Micah. Your mom's
Come
drug
test
test.
Chris.
Thank you, Paul. I really appreciate it.
Old gel test Chris.
Let's see, desktop audio, properties. Disable dedicated graphics in BIOS and run off Intel, so when you plug in the external, we'll see as the only dedicated GFX in the system. Well, see, that's the problem in my HP, and you can look this up, Tim, if you want while I'm working. I much appreciate it. So I went in, that's what I did last night. I went in and it's got an option for like hybrid graphics and stuff like that, and I turned that off and disabled it completely. And when I booted it up, it booted off of the GTX 1060, but as soon as it started to install the driver, the screen just went black and I just had a mouse. So I unplugged it and restarted it again, and it booted up, and for some reason it didn't see the Intel graphics, the integrated, but it saw the Quadro K1100, which is the dedicated chip on the board, and it installed those drivers. And then I plugged the external back in, and it installed those drivers, but the fans went to high again, and I kept dicking with it. People online, from what I've seen, don't have issues with it. They did have some issues with like hot swapping, which I'm not trying to do. I'm trying to leave it just plugged in and not unplug it. But during boot, something happens. Like when the computer first boots up, the fan runs at normal speed. Once it gets into Windows, though, as soon as Windows loads up, the fan goes to full max. But if I sit there and unplug the Thunderbolt and plug it in, unplug and plug it in, eventually it'll install the driver on the GPU and the fans will run normally. And then as the GPU heats up, the fans will ramp up as they normally do, and then they'll ramp back down whenever I'm not gaming. So on the GPU, not on the laptop. The fan on the GTX 1060 will go to absolute maximum speed as soon as it installs the drivers. Well, it's an HP ZBook 15 G1. Email you the BIOS. I'd have to look it up. It's a HP ZBook 15 G1. The Chinese scope. I really like the 1060. It's been a great card. I played on it last night after I got the fans to ramp back down where they should be. Like I was playing. I played Grand Theft Auto for a while on pretty much ultra settings, minus like 2 in the advanced settings, and it averages about 60 frames per second on the external. Which I'm using the external card, but I'm using the integrated screen. Like it just backfeeds back into the computer, so you don't have to run an external monitor. It's pretty nice. If my only issue with it is the fan thing. If I can get that figured out, I mean, it'd be an awesome. Like I would recommend it to anybody. The Macs don't seem to have that problem though. Like the Macs, it seems just to work, and they run Boot Camp, which is running Windows 10. So, what's up, Yassine? So I don't know if maybe it's something to do with the chipset on my computer or what it is. It's supposed to be a Thunderbolt 2 compatible chipset though. Indeed, indeed. It's just the GPU acceleration. Yeah, I agree. I know. But I had read online before I did it, Alex, that there would be issues, like performance issues with displaying on the internal screen instead of a external screen. But honestly, my external and my internal screen have the same frame rate, so I'm not exactly sure what they were talking about. Somebody said that you would have problems because instead of sending the signal out to the external monitor, you were sending the signal back in through the Thunderbolt cable, and it would cause more latency issues or something. But frame rates and everything are almost identical from what I can tell. They just nubs. Maybe so. It's beyond what I know. I'm just smart enough to be dangerous on some of that stuff. I can get myself in situations I don't need to be. My personal thoughts, though, I think if Thunderbolt keeps progressing, external GPUs will make your mundane bullshit computers just absolutely awesome. Alright, so this one's still working.
With the 7 Plus? Okay.
Well, even Tim, for people that aren't playing games, I mean, imagine like a MacBook that you could buy like the base model with not a bunch of bullshit.
It's all new one.
And you could just put a giant graphics card on it.
It's $100. Not a problem.
Make sure this 6S boots up and turns on. Okay, so it's on. It's charging. It's pulling about. Let's see, what's it pull?
Alright, this thing's on. We did play this phone.
Make sure this is charging correct before I go any
Huh?
further.
It did charge up.
No, I'm talking about this one.
Oh, I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Okay, never mind.
Turned on.
This one's pulling 20 milliamps, but it's fully charged now, so. Video shadowing cache in the BIOS. If you want to download the BIOS and tell me if there's a way around some of the stuff, like the BIOS on mine it seems very limited. Like there's not a whole lot of stuff in it. Like there's some stuff in it, but like I didn't see a section for disabling the dedicated GPU. I only saw a section for disabling the hybrid GPU, which I assume, based on how it acted after I booted, it's probably something to do with the Intel integrated graphics, because when I rebooted it, there was no listing for the Intel integrated graphics when I disabled that setting. So my guess is that was not the dedicated GPU that I disabled. So it's weird though, if in the settings for NVIDIA, it gives you an option to actually blend the two graphics cards through software, supposedly to help with the processing power, but it doesn't fucking work. I tried it. It runs like dog shit. Runs like shit of dog. Alright, so let's check out this 5C. I've run it through the ultrasonic now. Looks pretty. That's still missing 2 pins. No big deal though. That's just for booting. We boot through the USB anyway. You can still see some of the discoloration on the board, some of the rust, some of the bad caps there. Well, the corroded caps, not really bad, but I've replaced both touch ICs. Where the fuck did you go? Okay, so evidently that coil came off in the ultrasonic, so that might be why we had issues. I believe that's the chestnut boost coil, which is now missing.
Chris, why are you throwing stuff on the ultrasonic?
That was just put through the ultrasonic and now it's gone, so that could have been what our problem was as to why we didn't have touch, maybe. Because chestnut coil supplies voltages for touch also. Let's see what our VCC main diode reading is now. Still the same, 1.125, which is low. Let's see what it reads on this board here. Actually it's not low, so this one reads the same, 0.128, so maybe we're okay there. But we need this coil right here, so let's snag that coil off this board. And maybe that'll solve all our issues. And we'll be in heaven. Heaven.
Praise the Lord.
I'm in heaven. Well, Alex, with your GTX 1060 on your streaming computer, you'll be able to game on it too. Alright, so let's put some leaded solder down. Can you get some friends because you're depressed? Well, welcome. We're all friends now.
Internet friends.
You don't have to buffer anymore, buffering. We're all internet friends now. The only way to lose friends around here is if you act like a troll. We don't take kindly to trolls.
Like a willow.
Like on Willow.
Trolls. I hate trolls. You've probably never seen that movie too.
Willow? Yes, I have.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know anymore. You're
Micah, you don't know anymore.
you black and movie watching department.
Damn, 69 degrees Celsius is a pretty good temperature for overclocked. No problem, Navaldo.
Waldo? Hi, Waldo?
I'm gonna go with D. I'll say D. Don't do it. Don't do it. Cocks the chemo gun. Well, we care about you, buffering. Because you're here with us, we care. It's true, a lot of people don't like buffering, but we do. We don't mind the buffer. Because we know after you're gone, everything's going to be good still. So we like when you're around. It shows us that good things are coming. So buffer away. Navaldo, if it's dying quickly, then it's probably bad. Well, if you get bullied every day at school, then you gotta say enough is enough and you punch back, even if you get your ass whooped. Say it ain't happening no more. And then if your parents are drunks, then you call Child Protective Services and you get yourself out of the situation. You tell them to get help. That's what you do. Your school doesn't care? Well, I would disagree. There's probably an adult that cares. Okay, so we got our Apple logo. This is the 5C that we're working on. We got Apple logo. Let's see if we get actual image though. Or touch, I mean, excuse me. Will we get touch? Recognized by the computer. Should turn on here shortly. $10 years old? Yeah. Do you have any relatives? Still no touch. Jack shit. And the connection on my screen is also jack shit. So I have no touch at all.
Alright, Chris, was there supposed to be two?
You got the noose ready? Well, I wouldn't do that.
Two, LCD. Did you have an LCD with this part 1 2?
Yeah, or I don't know.
I can't remember.
I had them all stacked right here.
I know, but I can't find. I get the second digitizer for, but I couldn't find a second LCD.
I don't think it had an LCD in it.
Okay, alright. Get the digitizer right here.
Change chestnut? Yes, I changed chestnut and the great voltage is there, Alex. The touch is not tested on this one, but at the same time, this is a new screen, And I tried another screen, and I believe that we have an issue because when I plug in the other screen, I get lines on the screen. So I'm thinking that we have a problem with something else on the board. But this one was working. Copies are usually pretty lenient. They don't give a shit about issues. So I tend to use a copy screen whenever I do data recovery. But I do have an OEM screen also for FOBC. Check the little diode by the Digi FPC. Okay, we'll do that now. So, are we talking about up here? So let's see. Diode. Which diode? Grounded for 1 month. That's not very long. I think they should do more than just ground you. I think they should straighten up their act. Alright, so Alex, which diode are you talking about? There's a Zener diode back here, but it's not faulty. I've already checked it. And let's see. What's up, Keep You Mobile? Let's move this one back. Is there a diode out here somewhere that I'm missing? I believe these are a capacitor and a resistor. Yep. That's a temp sensor. Alright, buffering. You'll be alright. Just don't worry about it. Life goes on. No need to be upset about it. Love you too, buffering. Dear Alex, show me what you're talking about. So let's do some voltage measurements. I'm going to grab the other screen and see if it's still doing what it was doing, because I'm sure it is.
Look what you did, Chris.
Micah. Dear Micah. Shit, we didn't order that screen.
What screen?
For that Infinity tablet, because I never wanted you to take it apart.
Well, I took it apart so you can get the phone number off it. I thought you ordered it. Why didn't you order it?
Because I hate you.
God damn it, Chris. You must hate me because I had it apart.
I do.
I handed it to you and you said you were ordering it.
You ordered it, Micah.
No, you got it.
Micah, stop ordering stuff.
I specifically.
In the Pacific Ocean?
I specifically.
Alrighty. So we got our OEM refurb here. These are really good quality screens. We always like them. Original. Alright, so we're going to plug in our power here. And we're going to boot. Okay, so when we boot, we get backlight with some crazy fucking visuals, which is usually a sign of chestnut, but I'm fairly confident chestnut's working properly on this one. Let's check those voltages while it's booting up. I want to see if it's actually making what it's supposed to. Okay. OBS has crashed. Well, fuck off, OBS. 5.5. 0.1. Okay, so that's not right. Sage is not making the power it should right now. Sage was making 0.1 volt. So let's replace chestnut again. I've already replaced it once, but I'll replace it again. God damn it, people. DNC. What kind of phone? We do. Do you have insurance on that phone? Okay. Is it a normal S7, S7 Edge, or S7 Active? Is it a normal S7, S7 Edge, or S7 Active? Okay. Most of the time we have to order those parts. The cost with labor in your part would be about $200 plus tax. Those devices, since the cost of the screen is so high, we require either the device be dropped off or down payment for the part. And normal shipping time is 2 days. And once the part arrives, we can have it fixed the same day if the device is here. Okay? You're welcome. Bye. What's up, Deckard? Bye, Timmy.
Bye.
Bye, Timmery. Timmery, Tim. Timmery, Timmery. So, it looks like, let's check for shorts real quick, because that cap does look like a bag of dicks. There is no short, but we weren't getting any voltage on that line. So, good night, Paul. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for the donation as always. Really appreciate it. I've been trying to get everything sorted out with Google. They got all the donations held up. Alright, so let's hook up power again. I want to measure the output of this one to make sure. I was kind of rushing myself because once it's booted, you're kind of SOL. Okay, so it's booting up. So let's measure the voltage that we were getting out. Yeah, we're getting 0.1 out. We're getting 5.58 on the LCM power. We're getting 5 volts on the grape line. 1. So negative 1.6 on that one. 1 volt there. Where is the other voltage lines here? Okay, that's a negative line anyway, so that's correct. So we've got to have something wrong with something's wrong with chestnut, it seems. That or mason. It's either chestnut or well, sage, not mason, but it's either chestnut or sage. So let me pull up the schematics here and see how this works. Is it Paul? Paul's here. How you doing, Paul? How you doing, Paul? Paul? How you feeling, Paul? Feeling well? Did you ever hear anything about the the nerve thing, if they were going to be able to do it or not? Hold on, sorry. I just saw your question there. Chris Long, iPhone 5 TriStar is a 1608 by default. Will 1610 work? No. 1610 will not work. It will charge, but it'll cause the phone to boot loop. I've done it before, trust me. It doesn't work. September 5th, awesome. I'm glad. Hopefully that is the end-all be-all and relief is obtained. Let's see. So we need U3. U3. Chestnut. Here you are. Old Chesty McNuts.
Chest your nuts.
Old chesticles. So, you are the source of these power rails. Okay, so that's good. So we have a 5V7 Sage high and 5V7 Sage low, with a 6V0 LCM boost. We also have an LCD high chestnut 5V7. Okay. Oh no shit, the LCM to AP B-Sync line also goes to chestnut on this one. Interesting, interesting. Alright, so let's replace chestnut again. This one I think was new, but we'll go ahead and pull it back off. Aha! So does anybody see what I saw? When I lifted that pad did not have any connection at all. So our issue was probably our solder joint there. So let's just redo that solder joint and see if that fixes it. So the reason we may not have had any voltage going to that cap is because that line wasn't even connected to it. So it wouldn't have output any voltage to it. It had no physical connection. What can you harvest a 1608 from? iPad mini has 1608 chip. It looks different on the iPad mini, but it's the same chip. So iPad mini first generation has no underfill around the TriStar, and it's easy to take off. So let's go ahead and re-ball this chestnut IC. LED driver chips, they're always fun to replace. I honestly like doing BGA rework. I think it's fun. I think it's it's cool to see the when the balls form on them. It's pretty awesome. So I'm actually going to reflow that once, and I'm going to build this up again. iPhone 7 Air 4005. 4005 I think is like a USB interrupt, like something got disconnected during restore or something. If I remember correctly, I think that's what that is. What's going on? Paul, donation came through Christmas. Sorry about that. What was the donation for? I appreciate the donation though. Thoroughly. I mean, anything that you all give is awesome. Hopefully what I give is somewhat anywhere near as much as you've given, but I don't think it is. I think you all have given me more than I've ever given back, but hopefully I can keep on working and we can offset that. Alright, so we got that reballed. Let me look and see the orientation real quick. I think I've got it right, but let me check. Okay, so A1 is in the top left. Yep, that's right. You're thinking TriStar? Yeah, that's a possibility. Especially if it's a USB communication problem. Alright, so let's reflow this little guy here. Okay, got that down. Okay, Paul, thank you. Hopefully I'm entertaining enough for the donations. What's everybody think about the current events in the world right now? Think we're all gonna die? Alright, fingers crossed that we get a clear screen and TouchWorks. I'll be very optimistic if I turn this on and the screen is showing correctly. Because if it is, that means we solved whatever our problem was. Because before, this was not showing a clear image with this screen on it. Nope, image is still not clear. We're still getting lines on the screen, so I'm going to try my other screen. Maybe this one is bad. That's a possibility. You've decided to learn Chinese. A recommendation on a school. JR, depends on what you're wanting to learn. Are you wanting to learn iPhones or MacBook repair? If you want to go towards Macs, Lewis's course, I'm sure, is very good and would be very helpful. What?
None of your damn business.
So I got no image with this one. I don't know if it's the screen or if it's something else. It feels like Mason's getting very warm too. And based on the amp draw, I wouldn't be shocked if Mason wasn't having problems. We're definitely not getting image anymore though. So that's a step backwards from where we were. Let's see what our voltages are. This should be LCM 5E7. That's 2.4. The touch is 1.7 volts. Okay, so we definitely got a problem there. I don't know if it's the screen causing it or if it's something else. Let's go ahead and pull chestnut and replace it. Paul Daniels is over there. Nebraska, I learned how to do this by just doing it, to be honest. I started watching these videos on YouTube and I picked up some tools and started working on them. And that's how it started. I actually started watching Lewis's videos and then transitioned over to iPhones after I realized that Macs, while Macs were easier, I didn't see as many of them, so it was more beneficial for me to do these than it was anything else. Okay, so I've already used my other chestnut chip. Let me see if it's one of these. I don't think it's that one, no. Maybe it's this one here. Yeah, that one looks like shit though. Alright, let's just pull a chestnut off another board. We got plenty of boards that I'm sure chestnut's fine on. Micro soldering forms. Deckard, are you on the Facebook pages for micro soldering? Like introduction to micro soldering and cell phone repair. Those are good ones to join. Alright, so let's see if we can get our image back here. That should actually be a pretty good match there for our existing solder. Go ahead and drop it right back down on top of these. Okay. Let that reflow. There it goes. Settled in place. These two are a little close. I'm going to back this coil up just a little. I don't want these two touching. I don't know that they're on the same line or not. Let me check. They're same line, so that doesn't matter. Alright, so let's hook up the screen again and see if we got image back. Hopefully we do. Okay, 5S. Okay, we still don't have any image. Any backlight? I don't have any backlight either. So let's put on our other screen, since we know it actually has image. It just is highly distorted, which is usually a sign that there's an issue with the Mason line or touch lines, Sage. Usually when you get those crazy ass patterns in it, it's a voltage issue. We still are getting a crazy high voltage draw immediately. Yeah, this one still has the crazy patterns, and it has backlight. So let's pull Mason off or Sage off. I keep calling it Mason, but Sage. Let's pull it off and see what it does without it. Okay. Lincoln, Nebraska. I think Justin and them actually went out there, didn't they? For the right to repair stuff. Was that Nebraska? I think it was. Maybe it was Iowa. I can't remember. Alright, so we definitely had a problem with Mason. So after removing Mason, we now have an image with some lines on the screen, which is not something to be worried about, because with Mason off we're going to get some random lines on the screen, but we have a much clearer image now. I keep calling Mason again. Sage. So we'll go ahead and grab another Sage IC off another board. Hopefully we have another Sage IC. They're different than the Mason ICs. They're a smaller package. Okay, we have one here. That is a 5C. So we're going to snag this one and move it over to our board. Okay. It's got a fairly even reball still on it, so we'll drop it right on top of this one. Alright, that is on. Please give me a clear image with some touch, or even an ugly image with touch. I'll take either one. Oh, we got a clear image. We got a clear image. I bet we're gonna have touch now. The voltage when it booted up also looked correct, so. JR, yeah, I have thought about teaching classes. I just don't have the space right now. We're still trying to get the new store kind of sorted out, so if I have the space there, I definitely want to look into doing lessons. I think at first I start off with, oh, we got touch. Yeah. We got lines on the screen, but I don't give a shit. As long as touch works, which it does. Alright, let me see. I'm going to turn this off because I don't want to keep it running, because it is a water damaged board and there could be some secondary issues that I don't know about. So let me see if Nate has sent us the passcode or not yet. If not, we'll come back to that one tomorrow. Okay, he hasn't yet, so I'm going to set that one off to the side. We'll come back to it tomorrow. We're going to leave this disconnected from power. We don't want it powered up by anything. Power in boards like that can cause some problems. I'll definitely let you all know if I start doing some classes. I'll probably do small stuff too, like 1 or 2 people. Jessa has been doing this a while. She kind of has a curriculum drawn up. It's something that I would have to learn, like kind of do a few classes and figure out what's needed and what's not. So we'll put this screen up and we'll move on to our next phone, which will be Lauren's phone. I gotta put back together. It's mostly just reballing chips and putting them back on. So that one ended up being a mixture of chestnut and sage. After we replaced chestnut and got our voltage back, we replaced sage because it was getting hot, and we got touchback. So sweet. Alright, so Lauren's phone, I've been slowly replacing everything on it. The back of this, I did have PMIC off. I had audio IC off. I had both touch ICs off. I had the NFC chip off there. I still have to put what the fuck's it called? Stockholm back on, which is here. I've replaced Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi works. I've already checked it. We need to put back the fingerprint scanning boost circuit and the strobe boost circuit, and we also have to run wires over here where the camera LDO was. Actually, that's kind of blurry for you all. Sorry about that. The camera LDO was right here, but got kind of fucked up by water damage. And Lauren had originally done a dead bug rewire of the LDO. We had to undo that because it's part of my troubleshooting. If there's any issues with the board, I always undo what was done to the board, just because you never know what's going on with it. So he had done a good job, and it sucked undoing it because it's gonna be kind of a pain in the dick to put back, but not terribly hard, just more work that really wasn't needed, but we had to take it off to make sure. But these two are the only ones that I worry about, just because of proximity to the CPU, to chestnut, and to the backlight drivers. The dead bug, that's not a big deal, but I'm going to put back the Stockholm chip first. So we're going to scavenge that from another board. And that'll probably be the last thing we do today. And then I'm going to head home. So we got Stockholm here on this iPhone 6, which is the same chip. We're going to grab that off. We're going to reball that IC. Okay. Okay, Nate. We got touchback, so that's good. We're just waiting for the pin number, and then we should be able to get data off of it. Just whenever you can get it, no rush. I don't think anything's going to happen to the board while it's sitting there. Alright, so I don't know if this has a Stockholm or not. I'm kind of comparing all these to see. So it's a 4. Well, maybe this one. Yeah, that one there works. That's the same as the, I believe the chestnut IC has the same pattern. Okay. It's reballed. Let it cool for a second. Punch it out. so let's put this back on our board. Okay, so I believe it goes this way. Let me check on ZXW, make sure our panel location is correct. You'll be the guinea pig. Well, the first few will be guinea pigs.
Guinea pigs of what?
For seeing how a teaching class goes.
Shit.
Shit. Alright, so pin 1 is in the bottom right corner, which I believe is where the mark is.
I'll teach you everything I know.
Yeah, it is. It's right there. So that's pin 1. So that is correct orientation. Micah said he'll teach you everything he knows for
Just like I taught Dave.
for $20.
How to put the shields back on.
Which shields?
On the whenever I told him to use the hot air. To put
Oh,
the shields
God.
back on.
Yeah, don't listen to Micah's advice. Okay. Let that cool. At least I'm not wearing a fucking hazmat suit. I thought it was pretty funny. Just as very entertaining. The green screen is entertaining. Alright, so let's see. Does iPhone 6 share the same boost chips for that shit? Looks like it does. Although this one over here is underfilled, it looks like. So that's going to be a nightmare. But this looks like the strobe boost. So we can pull that one, I think, and swap it. Pin 1 being in the bottom right there. Just blew the chip off into the nether regions. There it is. Hey, little dude. Okay, so let's flip that over. Yep, that's it.
Hello. How y'all doing? How y'all doing, sexies?
Sir, that's sexual harassment and we don't have to take it. Don't let him
Thank you,
test.
sir. I love
Don't let
you
him
too.
test it. Kick him out. Kick him out before he tests it.
Don't test it. You're not allowed to test
Somebody's shut up. Thank you guys.
See ya. Jessa does it 100%. Yes, she does. Jessa's kind of been the same. I feel like Jessa's gotten a little, like, she's opened up a little more as she's been on YouTube longer. When she started from her kitchen, I mean, it wasn't necessarily, like, serious or anything, but when she did it from her kitchen, she was more, here's how we fix this, step by step. Now it's more like, I'm wearing a big inflatable garbage bag. And we broke into Lewis's store.
What?
No, she did a stream where she was like in Lewis's store, but it was a green screen of Lewis's store.
Oh.
And she said she took over Rossman Repair. The funniest part of that whole stream was I told her that if we were going to believe that she was actually there, she had to turn around and type on the computer. So she just, like, she turns around and starts facing the computer that's on the green screen and starts typing away. And it really looked like she was sitting there, like, in front of the desk typing on it. It's pretty funny. Very entertaining. I got a laugh out of it.
I'm glad you did.
Alright, so we got that chip reballed. Let's do a quick cleanup on it. Okay. I'm not. I can't get a green screen. There's literally no space behind me. I would have to put like a green screen attached to my chair, so like when I turn, like there's no space behind me.
Back here could be a green screen, but then you have to move your whole setup.
Actually, I was thinking last night about moving stuff around. I don't know. Like this area would be something else. Like maybe just build a wall of fucking cubby shelves so we can just put phones and shit in here. So it's not in the back.
Yeah.
But then we have to figure out a work area back there.
You have more outlets and stuff.
Well, I was thinking about it, just putting.
You can move the fridge and the microwave back there. I don't know what the fuck you do with that.
Honestly, the reflow machine, I don't know. We need to move
You're
it.
gonna end up selling that.
I don't know. I mean, it's useful when we need it, but
I mean, the whole time I've worked here for about a whole year, it's been used twice.
I know. Micah. I know.
I don't even think we had a successful ball with. Well, maybe one of them. I think we did. One of them was successful.
Well, like I said, if we could find some GPUs on the market that aren't complete dog shit, then it would be useful. It's the same problem Lewis is running into with his now too. There's just no good GPUs on the market, so anything you try to put on is just a piece of shit anyway. Alright, so we got that aligned. Let's go ahead and clean up those old solder balls so we don't get any bridging. Move that down for you all so you can see it. Prettying herself up with her glasses? Maybe so. I wonder how Jessa determines who she's gonna have actually like come in and sit and talk to her when she works on it. I wouldn't mind going up to one of Jessa's classes and helping her out just to kind of see what she does and kind of try to pick up some tips from her personally, like how she works on things. That's what I really enjoyed about the Nashville meeting. Mark and I kind of got to just sit around and talk about things. It's interesting to talk to him because he's been doing this for a while, and so does Jessa. But I kind of get to bounce my ideas off of people that kind of have an idea what I'm talking about, because sometimes I can be like in my head I'm like, this obviously makes sense what I'm talking about, but people look at me like, the fuck are you talking about? Alright, so we got our backlight or our strobe driver back on. So now we need to do our, this is the boost circuit for the Mesa Touch IC stuff. This takes the VCC main voltage and this chip will boost it up to 16 volts. We need to clean out this area first. Yeah, Mark's a pretty good teacher. The one thing I do like about the green screen though is like for Jessa and stuff, like when you put yourself in the corner of the actual image, it kind of helps with that stuff. So I appreciate it. Thank you for the compliment. I think Mark still knows quite a bit more than I do, but hopefully one day I'll get up there. Alright, let me see. I gotta get a 6 plus here for donor board. That still has this chip on it. That doesn't go in there. But they have a 6 Plus with this chip on it. So far, it does not look like it. Oh, there we go. That one does. So, hello, Mr. Mesa Boost. Yeah, Alex, I talked to Mark and them and Jessa, and I talked to Larry and a few others. I'd really like to just kind of have a weekend where some of the better techs in the industry can get together and just kind of like what we did in Nashville, just kind of get together and collaborate and talk about problems with boards and stuff like that, and just hang out, have a good time, nothing serious. Alright, so we got that one off. Lewis on the left speaker and Chris. What's Lewis talking about? He's always got something exciting and insightful going on. Yeah, the artery repair guy. Can't remember his name. It's like Justin or something. The only thing that I like his videos. I mean, he explains what he's doing. The only thing I didn't really like was the tweezer thing about the ceramic tweezer stuff. Like, I understand he's trying to sell his products, which by all means do so. If you're putting yourself out there, you should be able to capitalize on that. But I didn't really agree with his explanation of the tweezers as far as like wicking goes. I mean, there is probably some truth to it that it does heat sink a little bit, but it's not enough to make a difference. I use just standard stainless tweezers and I can wick the same way. So am I going to unconference? No, I really wanted to, but I think if you're going to go to an unconference, Alex, that's probably the best one to go to. I do like the replaceable tip idea, though. Although I wish the tips on them were a lot finer. I don't know if anybody here has them, but it seemed like the tips were really big on them. I just don't see how it would be useful for like how fine some of this stuff is. I really like to have really fine tip tweezers, because I abuse the shit out of them and use them for everything they shouldn't be used for. Tim's asked me to go to the unconference. Jess has asked me to go to the unconference. I just don't know if I have the time right now to do so. The one in Nashville was fun though. Got to hang out with Mr. Oberdick. Yeah, they're not expensive. That's true. They're good price. Like I said, I don't blame him at all for trying to capitalize on it. I just didn't agree with the sales pitch 100%. I did agree with him about the wicking with the braid though. You should always cut off a piece because the heat soak that's required for the wick to pull up any solder is so much higher when it's connected to the entire spool. Alright, so let's put some flux on the CPU. Transfer the heat into the coin as we go to reflow this, and of course I've soaked it with flux so I can't tell my orientation now. So I'm going to have to clean that off. Did I drink whipped cream vodka with Lewis? No.
Ew.
Rick, what do you mean we talk about each other on a personal level? personal taste and stuff. Yeah, I mean, everybody's going to be different what they like and what they don't. I think the best advice I can give you with any equipment, find what you like and use it. Don't listen to me or anybody else. I mean, take suggestions, try things out. I've tried, like, as far as tweezers go, I've used like 4 or 5 different types. I've used Hako, I've used what was the other fucking brand? There was a brand, I think it was Wera made it or somebody made it, that were some anti-static tweezers that are supposed to be good. And I haven't tried out the ones Jessa uses, or the ones Mark uses, those titanium ones, but definitely just use what works for you. The infrared rather than hot air. Infrared just it's not as good, I don't think. I mean, the infrared is slower as far as heating, it seems. The hot air seems to do the work a lot faster. The ramp up time mostly is the thing that I notice. Like my my machine, my BGA rework machine back there for replacing flip chip BGAs, it uses infrared heating plates, but it uses hot air nozzles. Why are we putting all these back on? This is a board that has to work. So this board came in with a partial short on VCC main, and the customer wanted to use it. So I had pulled all these chips off in my attempts to find the VCC main short. I ended up finding the short, but it happened to be in the Wi-Fi module, which was odd because the Wi-Fi module was not getting hot, which sucks because I pulled everything off. And the last thing literally was the Wi-Fi module. So first things first now on iPhone 6 is if I have a partial VCC main short with no obvious water damage that would be causing it, I'm going to start pulling the Wi-Fi module off. Alright, so looks like I got everybody back on except the camera LDS. So let's make sure this thing still boots up. That's the main concern here. I think I was having problems with touch on the screen too. I already did a touch IC on it just because I was already there and I wanted to rule it out. But I think this screen was giving me touch problems. Ultrasonic video, lose not be happy. I watched part of it. I didn't watch all of it. I mean, here's my opinion on it. I think there's plenty of good ultrasonics out there. Okay, so now I have a partial short again. Oh, motherfucker. So I'm gonna have to pull. I'm gonna have to pull these chips back off that I just put on. Yeah, I've got an 80 ohm draw now. Well, damn it. The short reading in diode mode was like 0.08 or something like that, 0.09. It was fairly low, 0.1, right in that range. It was around 1.1 volt drop to ground. So I'm gonna have to pull these chips back off that I just put on because I have a short, or I have a partial short right now, causing an amp draw with the phone just sitting there plugged in. So I'm gonna start by pulling that chip that I just put on back off. Okay. The thing about the ultrasonic that Jason showed, though, if you want to do anything other than iPhone boards, it's completely useless. You need a bigger one if you're going to do like MacBooks or anything like that. that's where you end up spending your money because of the size of the ultrasonic you have to buy. If you just want to do iPhones, it's a great option though. Okay, so I pulled that chip off the board and now our short is gone. So it was that chip that I just put back on had a partial short under it. So let's see if it still boots up. I'm just gonna leave that chip off and make sure it's still working properly. And I will show you all the Wi-Fi signal. There's no antennas hooked up, so the Wi-Fi is weak, but it will pull signal. Beforehand, it didn't work at all. Actually, no, it did work. That's what was odd. The Wi-Fi did work on this one, which is why I didn't pull Wi-Fi. But it works now too. Okay, so prompt to boot. Okay, so disconnected my power while I was booting up. So it still does boot up, so that's good. Motherfucking goddamn cables, dude. Disconnect every 2 seconds. Every 2 seconds. 0.5 to be a full short? No. Full short is like almost 0. Partial shorts, if you meter them in like ohms mode, a partial short for me is normally like 100 to 300 ohms, somewhere there. A full short to me is usually less than like 30 ohms. My threshold on full short versus partial is if it'll create heat. If it's above a certain ohm reading, it won't create heat. So I consider those partials. If it'll create heat, I consider it a full short. Okay, so we're letting this boot up. Let's see if touch works on this screen. It does not. The other screen I tested with, the touch does work though, so I'm going to use that one that I put up. Let me go grab that real quick.
How much longer are you going to be?
I'm going to test this then, bro. I'll make sure everything's working. I'll put that chip back on tomorrow and then put it back together. I just want to make sure everything's still functioning properly on it. So 10 minutes. Alright. Alright, that voltage looks correct on boot up there. So you're saying 0.5? No, 0.05. Excuse me. Sorry if I said that wrong. So, in my meter, I do... For testing for shorts, I run through with my meter in continuity mode, and it reads out ohms also if it's below 300 ohms. I do quick checks with it to see if anything beeps. If anything beeps, I'll know right away. So I go back in after it beeps. This thing has a film on it that causes the touch to act weird. Alright, so we'll go in here and we'll go to let's see, back one more, Wi-Fi. As you can see, we're picking up Wi-Fi signal there, so that's good. And we don't have cameras hooked up, but we'll do those later. But we have touch, so that's good. Definitely needs a screen, but I'm pretty happy that we found that one. Fluke MMB at 0.05. Yes, I agree. 0.05 is relative. A short on a line is relative to the line that you're reading. So, VCC main, for example, on iPhone 6 is 0.3, 0, whatever, 0.31, point whatever. Usually 0.3, right around that range. CPU can be like 0.0 something. GPU can be as low on the 6S. It can be down to like 0.01 and still be good. 0.008, like really, really low. Chris, keep meaning to ask you, can you tab from microscope camera to desktop, or is it hard? No, I can tab. I can set it up, however. Hold on. So what I can do for like the phone view. Are you talking about like the actual phone screen, or are you talking about for software stuff? Because I can add a second Logitech main. Hold on. So we can do rotate 180, and then we can drag it down like so, and then move it down to here, and then when we want it, we can turn it on. Camera under the head too. So pretty much if you want that, I can pull it up like that. It's just a overlay is all it is. But yeah, we can do that. I'll start doing that from now on. I'll have to hotkey it, that way it's easier. But anyway guys, that's going to pretty much end the stream for tonight. I'm going to head home. Thank you all for watching. And if you all have any more questions, I'll be happy to answer them tomorrow. I'll be streaming again. We don't have much mail-in left. Mostly just data recovery stuff that I got to do for Richard. That's about 5 or 6 boards. I've got a 5S that if I don't figure out something tomorrow on it, I'm going to ship it back to him. But everybody, Nathan, if after mason replacement there's only one line on the left side that's dropping, any thoughts? Nate, if you how wide is the line? So on the 6 Plus screen, we'll actually ship it over to the other view here so you all can see. So on the 6 Plus screen, if you have a very thin section, maybe like 10 pixels wide or so down, that's usually Mason is not seated properly, or your screen's not seated properly. If you have a section that's like about that wide, about a finger width wide, that means Cumulus is having issues. So if it's really thin, it's probably Mason. You need to reflow it or pick it back up and set it back down and then let it reflow again. Also check your screen. If there's a visual white line, that means you need to check the capacitors between Mason and Cumulus. But anyway, I will see you all later. Everybody have a good night. And Micah,
What?
count us. Make your noise so we can get off here.
Boy!
Alright, later.